Do you feel like God's given you a bunch of songs, but you don't know what to do with them? Do you feel like you've got a real call on your life to write, but you're clueless about where to start? Or maybe you've got writer's block and you're wondering if you'll ever get the creative juices flowing again. Well, we've got you covered with NCS membership. NCS membership is all about community and how to grow in this calling you feel deep inside to be heard. We get it. We know that you just want to honor God with your talents and be a good steward of what He's given you. And that's why NCS membership could be your next right step to grow, learn, be challenged, get connected, and ultimately fulfill your dreams to glorify God and reach others with the same passion you feel. It's designed to help you tell your story and to reach listeners who will love your songs. With your NCS membership, you'll receive 24/7 access to valuable masterclasses on topics such as modern hymn writing, worship writing, song form, lyric development, and recording home demos, as well as discounts for other NCS products and a deep connection into a community of creatives who get you. There are a lot of songwriters out there, so you need to be the best you can be to stand out, be heard, and become the songwriter you were born to be. Just go to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com now to check out all the great benefits of becoming part of a decidedly Christian community of songwriters from all over the world. NCS membership, your next right step to being heard.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, brought to you by Nashville Christian Songwriters. Nashville Christian Songwriters exists to empower Christian songwriters worldwide. I'm John Chisum, and this podcast exists to bring you valuable songwriting insights, inspiration, interviews, and just all around good fun with some of the greatest songwriters, producers, arrangers, artists, and creatives, and beyond. You can find out a whole lot more about us at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Hey everybody, John Chisum here. Welcome to the Song Revolution podcast, the show where you can just guarantee we're going to bring you some fun people. We're going to bring you the best interviews, the best input, inspiration, information that we possibly can. Even if you're not a songwriter, I think the show's kind of interesting when we go behind the scenes with different people in the industry, people who want to be in the industry, people who have been in the industry for years. We bring you just the gamut of songwriters, singers, worship leaders, publishers, producers, arrangers, and just anybody who's like hanging around. We try to bring you great interviews, people that we think you're going to find interesting. And today, I wanted to bring out of our archives one of my favorite shows. And this is with a guy who's really hoping to break into professional Christian songwriting and singer-songwritery. And he is my dear friend, Trevor Graves. And Trevor lives in Kentucky, and Trevor he's a delightful guy, worship leader, married, 2 kids, just a great guy, great worship leader, great heart for Jesus, and great songs, you know? And so I've been working with him. He came through our boot camp and just kind of upped the game, you know? He had a certain way that he was writing, and we helped him see the light and see how to write like a pro. And I think that his songs are delightful, and I hope this guy will eventually do a record that we can all buy and enjoy. And I think he's got some killer songs, and I thought it'd be fun for him to just share his journey a little bit, to share what it's like to be an aspiring songwriter, someone who's not really had a huge break into the industry yet, but we hope that he will. So if you haven't heard this episode, you're in for a treat. If you have heard it, well, ain't nothing wrong with a repeat, right? So sit back with me and enjoy my good buddy, great songwriter, wonderful singer and communicator, Trevor Graves. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It is just a beautiful and cool day here in Nashville, and I'm here in, are we calling this the basement studio, Bryant? Is that what we're going to call it?
We are today.
All right. Well, today I'm here in Bryant Urich's basement studio, which this is a cool little place, man. I love it.
Thanks, man.
It's kind of the deal here in Nashville, right? To have your own little recording space.
You never know what house has a studio, and it's probably most of them.
I know, right?
Driving around.
I know.
Yep.
You could probably like find, 18 right here in the surrounding 4 or 5 blocks, right?
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
yours is cool. This is good to be with Bryant. Those of you who've been listening to the show, you know that Bryant is our podcast producer. He's an amazing songwriter and works as a producer and has your own podcast business. So check out Bryant Urich.
Yep.
Okay, so here we are doing a commercial for you just at the beginning of the show, man.
Thanks,
That's
man.
great.
Appreciate it.
But it's been a good year. I thought maybe we have a special guest today. One of our NCS songwriters, Trevor Graves, is going to be with us shortly.
Yeah.
And we're going to premiere some of his cool songs. Love working with Trevor. But before we get into that, I thought we'd chat a little bit about the year here as we begin 2018.
Yeah.
So many exciting things ahead. And you were just a huge part of my 2017 and NCS. And I know we've told the story of how we met at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's fun, but it's kind of serendipitous. And
yeah, just thinking over the past year, all of the events, the NCS things that we've done. We were talking about the songwriting retreat that we did this fall a little earlier. Man, it's just so cool to see what this has become in a short time,
Yeah, you and I met at the coffee shop back February 2017.
Yeah.
And you just overheard me talking about NCS and hit me up on Facebook. We met, became friends, and just, you never know how things are going to come together,
Yeah.
One of my life scriptures is Proverbs 16:9. That says the mind of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps.
Mm.
And I'd thought about having a podcast and thought that'd be cool one day and whatever, but then met you, found out that's what you did. We struck up a friendship and then started the podcast. April 1, I think, was our first show.
Yeah, I think so.
And we've wound up, closing in on 26,000 downloads.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
Oh, it's so crazy. And you've had some amazing artists and songwriters on the show, just like nuggets for days.
I know, right?
So much wisdom, so much insight from all these people. It's been amazing.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to hear different people, like we've had Sandra McCracken. She was an awesome guest. And if you love the Gettys, then you'd love Sandra's music. And she has a new recording, a new CD and video out that's really quite amazing. It's a compilation of some of her earlier stuff with some new things, but stellar, just great. So,
so many countless people on the podcast. There's so much to dig into in that show. What would you say is your favorite conversation or your favorite thing overall with NCS this year?
As far as the podcast goes, my dear friend John Mays, who's head of A&R at Centricity, I think we titled his podcast probably so well that he has over like 6,000 downloads just on his.
Oh man!
I think it was like the third one we did, and it's called "How to Make It in the Christian Music Business."
Yep.
And so hey, that's a pretty stellar title. Great title. Content was amazing. I would consider John one of the first best friends I've ever had in my life. And before you guys were born, back in 83, when we moved to Nashville to take a church job that fell through, I wound up meeting John when he was a lowly bass player for the Singing Spear family and down on Music Row. Yeah.
Wow.
And just ran into him. I forgot how we met. I bet he would remember, but he really became truly one of my first best friends in life. I don't know. What about you? You've been in on a lot of them.
Man, I loved talking with Tim Timmons pretty recently, actually. That was a great one just to hear. I'd been familiar with his songs, but had never heard him speak about him or heard his heart behind it. So that was a great one. Also, Jenny Owens was amazing. That same day, I think we did both those in the same day.
We did.
It was so inspiring to hear her story. And we've had other interactions with her too. The songwriting intensive.
Yeah. She just is such a delightful person.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to, make friends. And she did agree to come over to our very first live event here in Nashville called the NCS Weekend Intensive. And we had about 13 writers fly in from all over the country, half of whom were our boot camp alumni, people that had been through our 8-week intensive boot camp. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But Jenny came over the first night of the 3-night intensive, and man, she blew me away.
Yeah.
Her insights on songwriting were absolutely amazing. And all the writers I just felt were so encouraged by that.
Yeah. Man, such a great event and so much more to come. I feel like 2018 is going to be amazing. And we're kicking it off on the podcast today.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So happy 2018, everybody. And
yes.
Speaking of the intensive, we do have our second weekend intensive coming up on March 1, 2, and 3. So it's Thursday afternoon through Saturday afternoon. So, folks can get back to their churches on Sunday, get a little later flight out of Nashville, or just, take the Sunday off and hang out and go do some fun things here in Nashville. Go check out Music Row and the Country Music Hall of Fame and all the wonderful attractions that, I don't know, do you think of Nashville as kind of, you've just been here a couple of years, right?
Yeah, we've been 2.5 years.
I mean, do you think Nashville is just kitschy and kind of, do you think it like trinkets and Nashville junk, or do you think there's some cool things to see here?
I think there are definitely some cool things to see. I think it appeals to a wide variety of people because you have the history and the nostalgia of country music. You have a lot of Christian music happening, even a lot of pop music now. But then there's also this kind of underground, younger, whatever people want to call it, hipster, millennial,
hipsters.
Whatever.
Well, that's me. I mean, I'm hip.
Yeah, I mean, John's the ultimate
on.
hipster, so he kind of leads that movement here in Nashville. But there's definitely a plethora of things to be involved in here. So.
I cuff my jeans. I got some little hipster boots, and
it's perfect.
Right. Well, if you're not from here, if you're not from Nashville, and you'd really like to take a few days and check out the NCS Weekend Intensive on our site at NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Look under the resources link and then just scroll down until you see NCS Weekend Intensive March 1, 2, and 3. And, go ahead and consider being part of that, because like the one we just had, we had Jenny come by and do the evening concert, hang out with everybody. We had dinner together. We also had, speaking of John Mays, John from Centricity came over and spent an hour and a half. Just him and his assistant, A&R director, Matt Ewald, came. John and Matt, if you're listening to the show today, thank you guys for coming. It was really impactful from the beginning. I taught, 4 sessions, and we had some of our associate coaches were there. You were there helping do some recording. And we had, of course, John and Matt. And then we had Luke Gamble from Brentwood Benson Music come over for an hour and talk about some of the inner workings of publishing and how a lot of that works, which is fantastic for the writers that had come in for that. And then Dave Clark. Dave is a veteran songwriter, has written hundreds of songs. Just crazy. I mean, he's a publisher at Lillinus Music. So we not only had the NCS crew there, but we had industry professionals, and we had hands-on coaching, and we're planning to do that again. So if you're out there listening and you're wondering if the NCS Weekend Intensive is right for you, what do you think, Bryant? Is it right?
I think it's awesome. Just to see the writers that were there, even to be able to hear them and record some demos with them, hear the songs that are coming out of this community of NCS is so cool. And I think that's been probably the most exciting thing to see, is the growth that's happened and the people that have come along in the journey. And we're actually going to talk about one today. I
know, exactly. Yeah. We're going to get there. We're going to get to Trevor Graves in just a moment. But, one more thought about the intensive. We did have over half of the 13 people that flew in for it were boot camp alumni, people that had been through our 8-week intensive boot camp. And, they loved hanging out with one another. They loved connecting with our NCS staff. And it's just been exciting. And then several people that had not been through the boot camp have since enrolled in the boot camp, and we're watching them grow as well.
Yeah. Wow. So cool, man. I'm excited.
It is fun. So 2017 was fantastic, but 2018 is going to be just off the chains. I'm so excited about it. Great things to come on the podcast. Just a little sneak peek. I'm in queue for Michael W. Smith to be with us. I know I'm going to go ahead and let that little thing out of the bag. Yeah. See, the cool thing is I've wound up making friends with some publicists and some managers and people that work with some of the bigger names. That's not really always the criteria here on the show. Anybody that's interesting that I like, we can have on the show or that I feel has something to say to our songwriting community. I think that they're really worth having. I mean, we had Drakeford. Drakeford are independent artists that are unsigned and unknown, and their show was fantastic. We had a lot of response off of Drakeford and Lucy Jane Lanier, who live in Chattanooga, and great little singer-songwriters. Love those people. But anyway, so I've made friends with some publicists and managers, and one of the publicists for Michael W. tells me that we're in line. So hopefully over the next few weeks, you guys will be hearing Michael W. on the Song Revolution podcast. And he has a new worship album coming out. So I think we're going to be talking about that, which is going to be fun. And you never know who's going to drop by.
Yep. Yep.
So, let's move on, because we have a wonderful new friend in the studio today. I've been working with Trevor Graves for this Trevor, welcome to the show, buddy. Why don't you come on in the room?
Step on up to the mic.
Step on up there, buddy.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, man. So Trevor and his lovely wife, Shanda, their two boys, live up in, is it Owensboro, Kentucky?
Scottsville.
Why do I always think Owensboro? Are you near there?
Who's ever heard of Scottsville?
I don't know, dude. But that's your hometown?
Well, actually, I grew up in Tennessee, but since I got married about 12 years ago, we moved to Kentucky, and then I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, moved to Scottsville.
Wow. You kind of came in through one of our Facebook ads, I think, into...
Yeah, I just stumbled over NCS ad and joined Successful Christian Songwriters and started posting songs. And a guy named Terrence McCoy reached out to me and started encouraging me and told me I needed to get in touch with some guy named John Chisum. So I did, and one thing led to another. And so now I'm learning from Yoda.
Yeah, right. I do kind of look like that anymore, but oh well. Well, it just... From first listen, I knew that, okay, this is an unusually talented guy. Great guitar player, great voice. Could definitely tell there was something that was cut above, the norm of singer-songwriters, aspiring songwriters. And that was pretty apparent. So as we kind of go on in the show today, I'd love for us to talk a little bit about kind of your progression, once you kind of came into Successful Christian Songwriters. Terrence, of course, Terrence is our poster child for NCS. And, his new record that came out in September, Transparency, is a fantastic record. To divert for just a minute to Terrence, a lovely guy. He and his wife, Lisa, amazing human beings. I just love those people. But to give a shout out to Terrence and Lisa, but his new record, Transparency, is getting like 4 out of 5 stars on CCM magazine, and also on newreleasetoday.com. So Terrence is just a great example of what we want to do, is to help singer-songwriters, worship leaders, anyone, even churches, walk through the process. Because I kind of gotten off Trevor for a sec. We'll get right back. But, I'd love to see this happen with a lot more of our NCS songwriters, where we walk these guys and girls straight through the process and get them out and launched into their ministries. We've got a lot of options. Bryant's a great producer. Work with Bryant. We've got some other people on hand we work with. Jeff Quimby, who works with Big Daddy Weave and some other artists. He just did some song. I don't know if he did the whole record, but Plum.
Yeah. I saw that,
so
actually.
right. So fun. So we want to we concentrate on songs and songwriting, but we have so many relationships into the industry for pitching and promoting, but as well, but walking people through the whole process. So, so that'd be fun, man. Get you some clients out of this, Bryant.
There we go. I'm curious, what's it been like, Trevor, like walking through, you mentioned joining Successful was kind of your first Successful Christian Songwriters, the Facebook group. And I apologize. I have like a crazy sinus thing going on. So
sniff.
That being said, What was it like when you joined that group? Did you have people around you that were already other songwriters, or was that kind of your first experience of being around a community like that?
No, it wasn't my first time, but I guess there's several thousand followers there.
Oh, we're at 4,700 now.
Yeah. So there were several songwriters that were, just giving me a lot of positive feedback, which was cool. Building my ego a little bit, but
well, it's your hair.
Starts with the hair every time.
Always the hair, right?
So anyway, I thought I was doing pretty well, but I had a lot to learn. And so when I got into the boot camp, I realized, how much growth I really needed, and I've came a long way, thankfully. Seen a lot of progress, and doors are starting to open. So
that's
I'm
great.
Thankful for that.
That's great. Well, I want to talk more about that, but I think it'd be fun to just have you do a few songs on the show today, just to showcase, you great voice, great guitarist. I just love your work, but also great songs. And I have been getting a lot of positive feedback on what you're doing. So I'd love for folks on the show or listening to the show today to sample it. So what song you want to start with today?
I'll start with Never Faint.
All right.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Looking down at my weary feet, barely moving on this one-way street, but you will renew my strength. Taking steps, but I don't know how. Hard to tell if I'm still gaining ground, but you will renew my strength. And I will walk, I will run in your overcoming grace. I won't stop, won't give up, never faint. Like a pilgrim on a journey home, stumbling through a world I don't belong, but you will renew my strength. When sticks and stones knock me to my knees, and bitter words leave me there to bleed, I know you will renew my strength. And I will walk, I will run in your overcoming grace. I won't stop, I won't give up, never faint. I am spent, I am poor, desperate for a fresh desire. Come revive, come restore, help me reach the other side. I am spent, I am poor, desperate for a fresh desire. Come revive, come restore, help me reach the other side. I am spent, I am poor, desperate for a fresh desire. Come revive, come restore, help me reach the other side. Oh, oh, oh. Help me reach the other side. And I will walk, I will run in your overcoming grace. I won't stop, won't give up, I'll never faint. No, I will walk, Lord, I will run in your overcoming grace. 'cause I won't stop, Lord, I won't give up, never faint.
Wow, dude. Man, that is,
man.
isn't it, Brian?
I love it.
You hadn't heard that one
That's
yet,
the
had
first
you?
time hearing that one. Yeah. It's
Wow. And I bet you could sing some of it back to me, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
that
totally.
It's that memorable.
Yeah.
And it has all the elements that we talk about all the time in our training. It's universal in the sense that it's encouraging, and everybody needs encouraging, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Man.
we're encouraged, man.
Thank you.
So good.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you came to write that. And then I'd love to talk a little bit about the progression as far as the critiquing and helping the song grow. So where did that come from in your life?
I guess over the past few years, we've had some different types of struggles, and just trying to do ministry, trying to do evangelism, trying to figure out how songwriting is going to play into the Lord's will. And
I think his will is always yes. The Lord says songwriting, yes.
well, trying to figure things out. We went through some difficult times. Just got weary, just got drained, was hurt, different things, but God's grace was sufficient for us. When we look to the Lord, He always comes through. And so I was thinking about the Old Testament passage about they that wait upon the Lord, those who look to God, that He'll renew their strength. And so that's the big idea. And I just think it came together nicely.
I think so. Yeah. And that's not the first song that's ever been written around the Isaiah passage, right?
Right.
But you did something that I thought was so cool by personalizing it rather than, because I think a lot of aspiring writers would probably just try to quote the scripture, right? And I love scripture memory songs. When I went to work at Integrity years ago, in the first 18 months, we did 26 scripture memory albums. I mean, verbatim, with a minimum of 10 verbatim. I mean, we could not stray one syllable.
Wow.
So, and we were working with 18 full-time songwriters to actually fuel that series. So I love scripture memory songs. So you guys listening, don't think that I'm dissing scripture. I mean, I'm a man of the word, but what you did, Trevor, was you took it and you personalized it, and really kind of brought that scripture to life by making it yours and thereby making it ours.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. I guess everybody can relate to, we all go through similar things, so when somebody writes from their heart about their experience, it reaches people in their own experience. So
yeah, so that's that universal quality. But you also married that idea with a real memorable hook, never faint, right? And then the way you put together that chorus with a great melody, just a great, feel, the vibe of it is so cool. So was there a progression kind of from where you started that to where it kind of ended up?
Sure. Well, I had you look at the song after I wrote it, and I had a nice bridge, so I thought, and John told me I just needed to kind of scrap the bridge and start over on that part. And anyway, that's always frustrating when you think you have it, but songs need a lot of work. They need a lot of revising and everything. So I worked on it and came back to the table, and you loved it. You thought it was what it needed. So anyway, also I made a few changes that kind of condensed the verses a little bit. So that's always a good thing. Is what is it? Word economy.
Economy of words,
yeah.
Or word economy, either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like it is now with the new bridge? Like, what was that process like?
It's much more powerful now. The first time it was like a couple of lines, it just kind of got boring a little bit, but I don't know, it conveys, the the message that I really want, really looking to God, for that revival. And so I think that's awesome because, it's something we all need at times.
No doubt, every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love the bridge. It's, I am spent, I am poor. And what's the rest of it?
Desperate for a fresh desire.
Oh, man, that's a great line. Desperate for a fresh desire. You know what I love about that line? We talk a lot about alliteration in songwriting, and you've got the D's, right? I mean, you guys, if you don't know what alliteration is, go look it up. But but the D's of desperate for a fresh desire, and it just sings so well. So also you've got the S's with desperate for a fresh desire. So, but you start looking for those things, right, Brian?
Yeah, and I love how it kind of breaks the mold a little bit. Like, I know when I started songwriting, I felt like everything had to rhyme. So if it's I am spent, I am poor, desperate for more.
Oh, inner rhyme too.
Yeah, that's like the go-to. And so I love that you broke that and like desperate for a fresh desire that doesn't have to be, necessarily that kind of cookie cutter rhyme scheme. So
that's
cool.
kind of a great example of inner rhyme because, and I wasn't thinking about that a second ago, but the desperate for, you just pointed it out, desperate for, I'm spent, I am poor. There you go.
Yeah,
desperate for. So you got the poor and the poor. That's great, man. See, that's brilliant. I think that you just do that innately. I think I'm
not always really thinking strategically about it.
Right.
It just kind of comes, and then I find out later that it was a good idea.
Well, I hope since you've been through the boot camp, you're more strategic and intentional now. But
a little bit, yeah.
So the other thing I love about that bridge is that it builds an intensity, and even you repeat it several times, but it just grows emotionally, which is another real strong factor in that song.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So. Very nice. I'm kind of basking in it, right? I could hear the whole thing again, but back to some of the elements that are present in that, the universal need we all have for encouragement, and yet there's that honesty based on the scripture. So you have the biblical content, and so I think that that's a great example of how even the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, gets involved with the message, right? And we all have important messages to us. Do you have other messages that are important for you in your songwriting?
I'm not sure what your question is.
Oh, well, I mean, I think we're going to do another song here in just a moment that is kind of along the lines of worship, right? You're a worship leader, and so that's an important theme for you.
Well, the Holy Ghost always helps me, every day with devotional life, ideas come from that. And especially, I guess, with the next song, it was more evident. I usually don't write a song in a day, and it just kind of came, and I've seen a lot of people touched and blessed by the song, and a lot of people want to sing it in their worship. So it's really neat to see. I mean, I give God, praise for His inspiration in all the songs. But sometimes, there's something that you just know that God has a special purpose to bring people into worship with. And I think this next song is definitely one of those.
Awesome. So this is called
Worthy of It All. Yeah.
Awesome.
Tell anything about it, or?
Let's talk about it after. Let's listen to it, and then let's talk about it. All right.
You stopped at nothing to give me heaven, gave up your splendor to wear a cross, your priceless blood paid for my redemption. And I was unworthy of it all. My hands are lifted, and my heart is humbled when I consider your open arms, my breath of life, Lord, I now surrender. Jesus, you are worthy of it all. Standing ovations will flood the heavens, and waves of glory will fill the earth. All of creation will flow with praise in song. And Lord, you are worthy of it all. The place of honor you have been given beside the Father, where you belong. Your name is lifted now and forever. And Lord, you are worthy of it all. Standing ovations will flood the heavens, and waves of glory will fill the earth. All of creation will flow with praise in song. And Lord, you are worthy of it all. Standing ovations will flood the heavens, and waves of glory will fill the earth. All of creation will flow with praise in song. And Lord, you are worthy of it all. My Lord, you are worthy of it all.
Wow, Trevor, man, that's just stunning, isn't it,
Oh,
Brian?
man, yeah. It's a moment for sure.
Wow. And you haven't heard that one either. I don't think you've heard any of
No, this is all new to me.
Trevor's. So
Sounds great.
I guess I'm kind of always, blowing his head up. His ego is going to get like big as Dallas or something. But I mean, that's
all right,
really
man.
special, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, the songs you're delivering, man. You can tell they came from a special place, and your voice and guitar and everything that goes into it is super cool.
Heart, just so much heart and well crafted, and I don't know, but that song just feels so classic. It's like I could imagine that song being sung in any church in America or the whole world. That's just one of those songs that I think could really go around the world. Yeah. Did we work much on that? I'm kind of fuzzy on the progression of that one. Did I help? Did I get the right credit? I mean,
I remember you really liked it, but I had my verses a little out of order, to set up the chorus, and there were just like some minor changes at the end of each verse to make the syllables, perfectly match and stuff.
Right. I think that's worth a co-write. I mean, 10% of a song that's probably going to go around the world. I mean, gee,
Well, probably.
Okay, I'm kidding. I'm putting Trevor on the spot. I'm just teasing. Just incidentally, if anybody's wondering, if you do go through our boot camp and our coaching, we don't claim anything. We are moving into some publishing, and so we talk about that on the back end of things. But if you write a song during your time with us, it's all yours, 100%. We don't make any claims, and maybe some other people would, but we don't, because we believe we're here to coach and help you become the best songwriter that you can be. And obviously, that's really helping Trevor. Man, seriously, that song is so amazing to me. It evokes worship in me. It makes me want to give Jesus a standing ovation. And I love the way that the verses are kind of low, and then you can go up the octave to na 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 na. So the intervals and just the contrast is the word I'm looking for. The contrast between your verses and your chorus is something that we teach a lot. Because a lot of times writers miss that, and their verses and their choruses look alike as far as line length. Even intervals, and there's not that much distinction, right, Brian? Is that kind of what you look at when you're looking at songs?
Yeah, I think I tend to lean towards the music side, even a little bit more, like how the chords line up with the melody and things. Like you start the chorus on the 5 chord, which is not super common, but that break, and then you come right in on the 5, and it's very I think you use the word timeless or traditional, kind of that hymn-like feel where the last phrase is like a 1-5-1 chord, dominant change, where the chords really help that melody kind of come to life. So that's kind of where my brain goes. But I love the feel. The vibe overall is very, very singable. It could be very congregational. That's cool.
Absolutely. It's hard to write a fresh worship song, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, especially a hymn. I just give God the credit for that, because I know that it takes skill as well, but
I want to give you some credit. Okay. We definitely give God ultimate credit, but you deserve credit too, man. You were listening and working the craft of this thing. Did you work on this one a long time, or you said it
a day,
kind of a day?
Well, as far as pinning it down, having the 3 verses in the chorus, it was a day. So, I had to change a few things, but it was powerful, to me. It was powerful when it came to me, So I knew that it was going to touch people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you feel like you were prepared to receive a song like that because you knew enough about the craft?
Oh yeah, that definitely has something to do with it. Everything that you put into writing, and everything that you put into reading, studying the word, and just reading and taking in vocabulary and all that, plays a role in preparing you to receive, a great song.
Yeah.
And, if you don't put it in, you're not going to get it out.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned from you. You have to, every day, you have to be taking in things and fill up your tank and everything so that you have something to give. And so that's very true. I said it came in a day, but, a lot of those things that I wrote down, came from, studying and everything before, but it never came together until, that day.
Right. Now, I think that's a great distinction, is that you were filling the tank. You weren't running on empty, just sitting down at a blank computer screen or just playing the same old guitar chords. You'd been kind of collecting, gathering, researching.
Right.
And then but it did come together mostly in a day, and then some tweaks after that. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great distinction to make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think anybody can receive a song, but it's those things that you're pouring into yourself that help you communicate it the best way.
Right.
So those vocabulary, the words you're learning, the things you're seeing other people do to communicate their songs or their ideas that you're learning from, that just all broadens the way that you can communicate as a songwriter, as an artist.
Absolutely.
And that's the end goal, right? Getting an idea, getting inspiration, and then communicating it in a way that really connects with people. So that's awesome.
Well, you had more tools to work with.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing I'm trying to emphasize always with writers is that the more tools you have, then the more apt you are to receive a song. I mean, a lot of people feel like they can make it on inspiration alone. And, I feel pretty inspired as a brain surgeon, but I don't think you ought to let me cut on your head, right? But, if I had the right tools and the right training, then the inspiration can really have a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. That's a good lesson in that. So you, the themes of your life, really, you talked about worship and evangelism and just encouragement, but that can take some other forms in your songs as well, right?
Sure. Yeah. Living a life for God and everything, sometimes you go through experiences that, you want to write about, and not necessarily does it turn out to be a worship song, but it can be a song that just conveys a truth that's important, and that can apply to anybody. And so that's kind of where the next song is going.
I love this song. It's called Words Left Unspoken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to set it up a little bit, or have you set it up in the sense that it is one of those songs that it's not necessarily a worship song, but it's a relationship kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Had some friendships and things that were kind of injured, and wanted to fix things, but just somehow I couldn't. And, and that's really difficult. And I believe in reconciliation, I believe in pursuing peace and standing in the gap, and being patient and everything. And so that's kind of what this song is about, just pursuing peace, and wanting that relationships to be healed completely, And, we all have, whether it be husband and wife, whether it be brothers and Christ, sisters in the Lord, or family or friends, this applies to all those relationships. It's easy to be misunderstood. It's easy to misunderstand. It's easy to think, someone is done you wrong, or, you just get caught up in that kind of thing, and it hurts. But I think, if we could just open up and communicate and, just be open to each other, open to forgiveness, open to understanding better, that's very important. That a relationship can really be strong. And, so not that, I've have big enemies, necessarily, but just, it's just relationships can be more healthy and stronger through communicating.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
so
wow.
A universal message again, right? The need to communicate, the need to be honest, authentic, heard, and it can be difficult. I mean, the first thing I thought when I first heard the song was that it was about a marriage relationship. And so when you explained that it really didn't originally come out of that, I was a little bit surprised, but it really does apply to all of life. And so with a Christian worldview, I think a song like this can be very, very important. So, yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, why don't you play for us Words Left Unspoken?
Sun is rising, still I'm dreaming of all I meant to say. Still I'm needing a conversation about our separate ways. Holding peace and hiding feelings won't take away our pain. How long can we wait? Sometimes silence isn't golden. Sometimes we should be more open right now. Just tell me how you feel. 'cause the words left unspoken are the hardest wounds to heal. Leaves are changing, still I'm thinking about what could have been. If we had spoken and told our secrets, then we'd have no regrets. Still I'm hoping for a moment to win your heart again. How long can we wait? Sometimes silence isn't golden. Sometimes we should be more open right now. Just tell me how you feel. 'Cause the words left unspoken are the hardest wounds to heal. I know our love is paralyzed, and we don't wanna make a move, but we can bring love back to life. 'Cause there is healing in the truth. Sometimes silence isn't golden. Sometimes we should be more open right now. Just tell me how you feel. Sometimes silence isn't golden. Sometimes we should be more open right now. I've got to tell you how I feel. 'Cause the words left unspoken are the hardest wounds. Words left unspoken are the hardest wounds to heal.
Whew, man, what a song.
I think that's my favorite so far.
Really?
If I have to pick one.
How come?
I don't know. I love the for one, I'm a guitar player, so I love the open tuning, the you're matching the melody as you're playing, on those verses and stuff. It's really cool. But I love the chorus. I think the words, silence isn't always golden. I just love the idea behind it. And what you told beforehand, like how that all just makes so much sense with relationship and communication. And it's a great idea, man. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, once again, memorable. You can remember sometimes.
Yeah.
Silence isn't it's so cool, and then he repeats that melody. Let's just a little critique your song here, but you've got the repetition of the melody. Also, the word sometimes in the first two lines of the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's universal. It's memorable. It's hooky. It's so real. It's so authentic. Mm-hmm. And I think truly Christian. I don't think that we have to make some big distinction because you didn't say Jesus or talk about a scripture. You really presented something with a very scriptural basis, right? I mean, the authenticity in a relationship, as we were talking earlier.
Yeah. I mean, we're created for a relationship with God and with each other. And, pursuing peace with one another, not letting bitterness and things like that, get the best of us. That's something that we can do through the grace of God. And, we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a reminder too. And you use dadgad.
Yeah. Dadgad tuning.
Dadgad tuning. So why did you use that? I mean, what is that all about?
I don't know. It just sounds really nice, like open chords in a different key than E,
Mm-hmm.
and you play things a little differently. in that tuning. So sometimes it may be easier a little bit. I don't know. I just like the way it sounds when I play certain chords. It sounds a little different. You know, it's a different.
So you basically tune down your E strings, right?
Yeah. Basically, you tune your strings to D, A, D, G, A, D, Dad, Gad. But do you feel like it inspires you more? Because it's easy to get. I know as a guitar player, it's easy to get stuck in G, C, D, E minor, and capo. You know, like capo up and just play in different key. So do you feel like that opens up kind of your creativity, kind of inspiration to play in different tunings?
Yeah. It's kind of like going to a piano. If you're a guitar player, it's a different way of playing. It has a different voicing, and so anything that can kind of stretch your creativity is good.
Yeah. Just because cool. Unfortunate you can't capo a piano.
Right.
I mean, you can change tunings on a keyboard, but if you're an acoustic piano player, you can't really slap a great big capo on it.
Yeah, I've definitely used the transpose feature on a digital keyboard before. B flat, no way. I'm playing a C. Just knock it down or knock it up a few.
So doing something like a different kind of tuning opens up some more options and gives you a little more creativity, maybe, or just helps you think about it a little differently?
Well, you know, when you play around with new options, you discover new avenues to, play your music or, convey what you want to convey in your music. So, so just experimenting, going further than, like you said, G, C, and D, play around with different voicings and different tunings, and you have something that sounds more original.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, now you have been an NCS client, and one of the things that we talk about a lot in what we do in our boot camp, and really in all of our material, everything from our free webinars, we offer a free strategy call for people that are considering personal coaching, which you had, and you enrolled and went through our 8-week training and everything. But we talk all the way through our NCS membership on this podcast. We talk about a lot of the same things, which is really tapping into hidden creativity and that type thing, opening up more options with tools. So tell us a little bit about how that experience was for you, the boot camp in particular, and do you feel like that gave you some more options and more tools for your songwriting?
Wow. The boot camp just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of weaknesses that I had in songwriting that I didn't really realize that I had. And so going through that intense program, I had a lot of eye-opening experiences, because I got to not only have my songs critiqued line by line and ask any question that I wanted, but I also got to see, everyone else in the group, have their songs critiqued line by line and ask questions. It was just, you learn so much through, collaboration. And when you have discipline, where, you're kind of held accountable. Okay, next week you need to have a song ready, a new song. That really stretched me a lot because, I'm used to writing a song in 2 months, I got to write in a week, I'm going to get one a week because, I've invested a little bit in this, and it's kind of like going to college. If you pay for your college, you want to be in class, Yeah. So, I wanted to do my best, and it stretched me in that way. And just, I could talk for a long time about all the little things that I picked up that really took my songwriting to another level.
That's great. Is there anything in particular that you felt? There were a lot of little things, of course, and you were exposed to the real craft of songwriting at a highly commercial level, which obviously, based on the 3 songs we've heard today, you're absolutely doing that, with your own flair, with your own style. Would you agree with that, Brian?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I feel like you probably had a little bit of that coming in. Obviously, you've been writing songs for a while, but just to be able to hone it and take it to the next level, like you can definitely see that coming out even more, as an artist or songwriter.
Yeah, it was definitely well worth it. I could pick out a lot of things to talk about I guess one thing is I didn't really realize when I was writing a song, I was very just straightforward with my lyrics and didn't use a lot of, figurative languages that, painted pictures or anything like that. I thought I was, but I didn't really use enough, and I didn't really know how. I just, it was kind of pointed out that I need to be more creative in, painting pictures in people's minds, and that will really draw them in to listen to the whole song. And so I feel like I've gotten somewhat better at that. Definitely,
no doubt.
Just a lot of things. Just I think the main thing for me, if I want to pick out one thing that helps me the most, would be the process of songwriting, like how to strategically approach writing a song. Because before I was just kind of banging around on the guitar and making up lyrics and melodies, and I say, well, that sounds like a verse, but I had no direction or anything. But like I have something that gave me structure. This is how you can do it, and do it effectively. You can do it more efficiently, do it more quickly, and starting with that big hook, and then building off of that, and creating contrast in your first verse, and then just connecting each line, building up to that first line of the chorus. Just all those little ideas helped me realize, okay, I don't have to guess, I don't have to just use trial and error all the time. I can be logical. I can use reasoning here and get songs out more efficiently. So it's really helped me a lot.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, and I've watched the process with you, as I do with all of our clients, and I've seen the growth. You really were talented. You are talented, and we're talented coming in. A lot of people are talented. A lot of people have been writing. I do a lot of phone calls with potential songwriting clients, and almost without fail, every person says, well, I started writing when I was 14, or I started playing the piano when I was 12, or it's so interesting to me that this experience of expressing ourselves is really anchored in our earliest years. It's a desire that just God seems to put in people. And I believe that everyone's talented to one degree or another, and whether it's in music or not. But so many people are talented musically, but they never take that next step to really become intentional and develop that talent. And they just feel often that they just receive songs from God. That's why we were kind of talking about that earlier. But then they don't know what to do. They don't know how to fashion that. And they feel almost like it's sacrilegious or something to change this song because that's the way God gave it, right? Mm-hmm. But, your experience and the experience of so many others is that God gives the inspiration, and then you develop your talent, you develop your craft, you develop your skills and gather the tools with which to communicate such a powerful message like Words Left Unspoken. And it is such a clear message, as well as Worthy of It All and Never Faint, the songs you've done on today's show. So, Bryant, it's evident, right? I'm not just crazy. This guy's talented.
Oh man, yeah.
It's awesome.
It's amazing. I think that whole journey is such a process. Like when I think of even uncovering that in my own life is writing songs, and from an early age, listening to songs and loving the idea. But it's been, I'm 29 years old, so it's been a 20-year process of uncovering that. So you can either go at it alone and do it yourself and try to uncover those things. And I've done that, and it can be kind of hard, lonely. You don't really know what direction to take. So why wouldn't you surround yourself with people that pull it out of you and help you, fast track in a way what you want to say and how you want to say it to make you the best you that you can be as a songwriter. And that's what I've seen, even being here in Nashville, being around people within CS, with other producers, other songwriters. That's really where it's at, in community, just like your second song, like that communication, that helping each other pull it out. I think that's really why NCS is so amazing, because people are doing that all the time with each other, John, all the coaches, everybody involved. So I would definitely recommend putting yourself around people that challenge you in that way, and this is a great way to do it. for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, it's just been so great to have you on the show today. Is there anything that you would say to anyone considering personal coaching with NCS?
Yeah, if you really have that strong desire to write songs for God's glory and to reach more people, I think just like with anything else, you have to realize that you can learn from other people and their wisdom and their experience, and this in particular has been something that has really just filled me up, with a lot of insight from someone who's been around in the business for a while, and it's worth it if it matters to you, then it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. It was for me. It was a sacrifice, because we were kind of struggling and everything financially, but we somehow, my wife and I, we knew that this was a step that I needed to take. We were struggling and trying to find, a direction from the Lord. And she went to a ladies' retreat, and someone prayed with her, just a powerful prayer that really increased her faith in that moment. And then when she came home and we had talked about it, I was kind of thinking she's not going to go for this boot camp, because of our struggle and everything. But she said, "I want you to do it. I feel like you need to do it."
Wow.
And I was kind of blown away. And so we did. And, God's just, little by little opening doors. And I'm so glad, because I feel like if nothing else, my ability to write a song with the Lord's help has really began to impact people in a greater way. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, to me, that's the fruit of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like you wrote an endorsement for us recently, and I remember you saying something like, people are reacting to your songs differently now.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me such joy to realize that, you and hopefully many others who've gone through our training or who are experiencing our podcast or even all of our free stuff. We put out a ton of this podcast is totally free, over 45 hours of teaching and training and inspiration and interviews. And now we get to add this great show with you on this. But, to me, that's what it's all about. We're a kingdom-based business. We're not a nonprofit, and we are a business, but we exist to empower Christian songwriters just like you all over the world. So it's just a delight to hear the growth. And, I think I'm privileged because I get to see where you started, which is cool. But now to hear these wonderful songs, and this is just a sample, it gives me kind of a fatherly pride, I guess. So I could be both of your dads, that. We won't go there. So anyway, so man, it's been great to have you. I know that you want to be booking churches, right? And camps and be out singing these songs. So
sure, yeah.
Is there any particular way that people can get a hold of you? Do you have a website, or how would people get a hold of you if they happen to be listening and they had a youth camp? Or tell us a little bit about that kind of ministry side.
Okay. Well, I'm always open. If my schedule's open, then, I'm open to coming and ministering with singing or preaching. I've been doing church camps for a few years now, and 2 or 3 church camps per summer. And I've over the past couple of years, I've been going to different churches and everything. But like I said, if the door's open, then I'm open to going. So Facebook, as of right now, probably the best way to get my attention would be, through Facebook. I have a music page and everything.
What is that? Just Trevor Graves music?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so also there's Reverb Nation, but more likely I'm going to, you're going to catch my attention through Facebook
Cool.
more quickly. So,
well, hey, with summer coming up, there may be some churches out there in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, or maybe even further out that really could use someone of your talents, and not just to sing your own songs, but to lead worship with all the popular songs and just have a great time with Trevor Graves. Well, Trevor, man, this has been rich. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
For being here
awesome
today, man. So you guys reach out to Trevor, give him some love on his Facebook page and on the NCS page, Successful Christian Songwriters, anywhere where you can just give a shout out to Trevor. Thanks so much, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bryant, man, this has been good, hasn't it?
Oh, man. It's been so good. Thanks for having me on the show today.
It's fun, man.
It's been super fun.
Hey, you're on the team, dude.
On the team.
So I knew you'd be blessed, though. I knew that you'd enjoy Trevor and the tunes and give us a chance to talk about some of the great things that happened over 2017. But look forward, to the new year, 2018.
Yeah.
So
more podcast episodes, more interviews with songwriters. Talk a little bit about the event coming up this spring.
Oh,
right?
yeah. We have our second NCS Weekend Intensive, March 1, 2, and 3 here in the Nashville area. It's actually going to be down in Franklin. We already have a location. I'm kind of finalizing some of the details. So just watch our website, NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com. Look under the resources link, scroll down to NCS Weekend Intensive, and we're going to have more great industry people. We'll have some surprise artists and guests. Of course, we'll be teaching. We have several awesome coaches who are signing on to be with us. What we're really gearing this for is hands-on industry feedback for your songs. So if you're out there wondering if the NCS Weekend Intensive is right for you, you just never know what kind of relationships are going to grow out of a weekend like this. People say it's all in who you know. I don't think it's all in who you know, but to build your career. But I do think it's important that you know great people. Yeah. And I've mentioned great friends like John Mays at Centricity, or Luke Gamble at Brentwood Benz. All these different people that that I've had relationship with for 30 years, and counting. So it is important to build relationship and to network and get out and self-promotion. None of us want to do that. But on the other hand, we do need to be meeting great people and networking and just letting people become aware in a godly way, I guess, but we're offering hands-on critiques and actual mentoring sessions throughout the weekend. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, about 1:00. We'll gather, catered meal on Thursday night, special artist showcase, and who knows, we might have an open mic. I'm thinking about that for Friday night. We're going to cater a lunch on Friday. We'll either go out. I'm thinking about doing kind of an open mic night on Friday night, or doing a showcase or something, maybe at the coffee shop. You and I go to the Well Coffee Shop where we met, and maybe doing something like that. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Very cool, yeah. That'd be awesome. So
get Trevor to come down and be part of the whole thing, and some of the other writers. So anyway, you guys consider that and be watching out for that on our site. But great show, man.
It's all good. 2018 is going to be huge.
It is. So stay tuned, you guys. Bryant, thanks for letting us be here. And you're just a little chilly, but it's still cool. It's a little
super cold. We're about to turn the heaters on, so we need to wrap this thing up.
This has been great. So you guys, we'll see you next week on the podcast. And until then, just remember that Jesus is the reason that we do all this. And we want to empower Christian songwriters worldwide at Nashville Christian Songwriters. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening in today on the Song Revolution podcast. If you're wanting to take your songwriting to the next level, be sure to jump over to NashvilleChristianSongwriters.com right now to check out all the valuable resources that we have there for you, especially NCS membership, where you can go deeper into a community of like-minded songwriters and tap into encouraging blogs, videos, powerful masterclasses, and a whole lot more to get you where you really want to go. I'll see you next time.